In this video, we will discuss project appraisal. What is project appraisal? Project appraisal is an exercise whereby a financial institution makes an independent and objective assessment of various aspects of an investment proposition to arrive at the financing decision. It simply means after a project is prepared, we will submit the project to financial institution for getting loans or other financial assistance. Then the financial institution will evaluate your project. It will arrive at a decision whether the project is viable or the project can be executed or not. That kind of a process where the financial institution makes an independent and objective assessment of your project based on various considerations. And that process is known as project appraisal. So project appraisal is normally undertaken by a financial institution or any other independent agency to assess whether your project is good for execution or implementation. So simply, project appraisal is an exercise whereby a financial institution makes an independent and objective assessment of various aspects of an investment proposition to arrive at the financing decision. So based on this project appraisal, the financial institution will conclude whether the loan should be given to the entrepreneur or not. Therefore, project appraisal is very, very important. In the appraisal of a project, we include many things. For instance, technical things, financial side, commercial, economic, ecological, social, and managerial aspects. All these things will be taken care of while appraising or while we do an appraisal of a project. This makes it necessary to recognize the interrelationship underlying the various aspects of a project. The exercise of project appraisal simply means the assessment of a project in terms of its economic, social, and financial viability. So in project appraisal, actually, we are assessing the project, evaluating the project in terms of economic, social, and financial viability of the project. This exercise is critical as it calls for multi-dimensional analysis of the project. So actually, we are doing a multi-dimensional analysis of the project. Financial institutions and banks make a critical appraisal of projects which are submitted to them by the entrepreneurs for getting loans. What are the steps followed in the project appraisal? Project appraisal is a scientific tool, or we follow a scientific method in project appraisal because it should be objective based. We have an objective before us. That is why we do this project appraisal. We have to arrive at a conclusion whether the loan should be given or not. So that's a crucial decision. So the purpose of the project appraisal is to arrive at that crucial decision. It follows a specific pattern. First and foremost, an analysis of a region's economy provides a general framework within which the assessment of any project is made. So in the appraisal of the project, we have to first consider the region's economy's position, whether the region's economy provides a general framework within which the assessment of any project is made. That means we have to consider external factors also. Internal factors are, of course, very important, but we have to consider external factors, the policies of the government, and the general economic framework in which the company is going to be started. So we have to consider region's economy. We have to consider external factors like the economy of the region, the place where the company is supposed to be set up. And that we have to consider in the appraisal of a project. So first and foremost, an analysis of a region's economy provides a general framework within which the assessment of a project can be made. This analysis indicates whether the project is in a potential environment which enjoys priority for economic development of the region or state concerned. So, whether the project is in a potential environment, that environment, whether that environment enjoys priority for economic development. So that can be understood from this project appraisal. That's very important also. This exercise itself usually involves the investigation of 6 different aspects. So project appraisal involves the investigation of 6 different aspects. What are these aspects? Number 1, economic aspect. Number 2, technical aspect. Number 3, organizational aspect. Number 4, managerial, operational, and finally, financial aspect. So in the appraisal of a project, we have to consider different aspects of the project like economic, technical, organizational, managerial, operational, and financial. The relative importance of these different aspects can vary according to circumstances and type of project. So sometimes in project appraisal, we may give importance to financial aspects, over importance to financial aspects. Sometimes we may give importance to technical aspects. So the relative importance of these aspects of project appraisal may vary depending upon the circumstances and the type of the project we are going to undertake. The main stages of the system of project appraisal are, now we are going to discuss each of these points in detail. That is, we are going to discuss the important stages of the project appraisal. These are the 6 stages. One is economic. Economic appraisal indicators. That means we are using indicators of priority use. Then technical involves scale of the project and process adopted. Organizational, suitability is examined. Managerial, adequacy and competency are critically scrutinized. Operational, capability of the project. Financial, it determines the financial viability for sound implementation and efficient operation. So we will in detail discuss each of these aspects of project appraisal. Let us come to the point, first point, that is economic. Economic aspects. The economic aspects brought about by a successful project normally take the form of an increased output of goods and services, either directly or indirectly. That means in economic aspect, we have to first consider the output flow of the firm, how much output it will produce directly or indirectly in the economy. So that will be first considered in economic aspects, how much output will be produced by the particular firm. This increased production will also generate many different forms of additional income. So we know that if our output is raised, what does it mean? Naturally, there will be more income. People will get more income and they will get more wage and more employment opportunities will be created. Government will get more revenue in the form of the tax, and there will be more earnings for the owners of capital. And a combination of all these benefits. So if output is high, or if the firm produces more output, then naturally it will increase the income in the economy. It will increase the wages of the people. More employment opportunities would be created. Large revenue would be generated for the government. High earnings will be given for the owners of the capital in the form of the interest rate. And a combination of other things will also come up. So that's very important. In a large majority of cases, it is possible to quantify project cost and benefits and to construct a rate of return or some other appropriate move. Further, cost and benefits are calculated using either market or short shadow prices as found appropriate. So in the estimation of the cost and benefits, you can directly estimate the cost and benefits, or using shadow prices, you can also estimate the cost and benefits. Now, second important aspect in project appraisal is organizational aspect. The bank places particular stress on the need for an efficient organization and responsible management for the execution of the project. So if your organization itself is very weak, then it means that you cannot take the project forward. That means we need an efficient organization and responsible management. The bank will look at these two important aspects. If they are not satisfied with the organization and the management, they will not give the loan. So these two things, who will do the business or who will manage the business, and who are the organizers of this business, these two things assume high significance in the appraisal of a project. The bank will not provide loan unless the project is managed by efficient people and an efficient organization. So during appraisal, these two essential dimensions of a project are examined. The objective of this aspect of appraisal is to make sure that the project is adequately carried out and that a locally staffed institution capable of contributing effectively to the development of the sector in question is created. That means you must recruit local staff, then only they will understand the local features. And so in short, what we need is an organizational setup which can take this project forward successfully. So the bank and or the financial institution which will appraise the project will consider these organizational aspects. Now, we will discuss the third important aspect in project appraisal, that is managerial aspect. Means if the management is incompetent, means unable to manage the project, then a good project may also fail. So the project may be technically good, financially viable, and the project may be economically good also. But if the management is incompetent, then the project will definitely fail. So it is rightly pointed out that if the project is weak, it can be improved upon. But if the promoters are weak and lack in business acumen, it is difficult to reverse the situation. So if you find some problems in the financial aspect of the project or economic aspect of the project, you can make improvement in that. But if you find that the promoters of the project, including the managers, are very weak, then you cannot reverse the situation. So therefore, this is very important. Managerial aspect is very important. The managers should be efficient to carry out the execution of the project. The managers should be efficient. It is therefore natural that financial institutions very carefully appraise the managerial aspects before sanctioning assistance for a project. So there must be, financial institution must be satisfied with the managerial aspect of the project. Then only they will give the assistance, financial assistance for a particular project. Now, it may be relevant to recall here that there are provisions which enable financial institutions to exercise control over the assisted units. Suppose that a financial institution gives loans to a project. Then means there will be more provisions in that loan, which will enable the financial institutions to have control, to exercise control over the units. That means there will be provisions in the loan, conditions in the loan, and these conditions in the loan will enable the banks to exercise its control over the management of the company or the project. For example, take the case that means a bank is giving a loan to a project or to an entrepreneur. Then the bank can stipulate the condition that if the loan is unpaid or is not repaid, then the bank can convert the loan into equity. So there that means we have such provisions in the means in the means financial means in the financing of a project. So the banks now stipulate the condition of option for conversion of loans into equity in respect of loans aggregating to rupees 5 crore or more generally. So if the loan amount is more than 5 crore, then the banks can means convert its loan into shares or equities if the bank is not satisfied with the functioning of the project. Further, there is a provision for appointment by the financial institutions of nominee directors on the board of all MRTP companies assisted by them. MRTP means Monopolies Restricted Trade Practices Act. So those companies which are registered under MRTP, and now MRTP Act is not in existence, it has been replaced by the competition law. But earlier in India, we had an MRTP Act. Companies used to be registered under the Act. And in those companies registered under the MRTP Act, there was a provision that the banks could convert its loan into equity if they found that the companies means companies were functioning not up to the expectation of the banks. Then they could convert their means loan into equities or shares. So this is a mechanism where the company, where the banks ensure that the company goes in good direction. So if the banks feel that the company is not working up to the expectations, then there's a provision for converting loan into equity or shares. Now we will consider the next aspect of the project appraisal, which is technical aspect. This is also important in some respects. Technical appraisal of a project broadly involves a critical study of many things. We will list out some of the important aspects which are involved in the technical appraisal of a project. One is location and site. The important factors that influence industrial location are, so what are the factors influencing industrial location? Raw material supplies, of course, that's very important because you cannot start a company in a place where raw materials are not available. So certain industries are located near the source of the raw materials. Proximity of markets, certain industries need to be located near the market. So we can see some companies means which are established near the market where they sell their products. The third, transportation facilities. Centers connected with transportation facilities exert a strong pull on industries because when we start industries, we first wanted to know whether transportation facilities are available or not. That's why we often give importance to infrastructure means facilities in the case like roads, railways, etc. So we will start industries in those areas where you can access through the road, which you can access through the road or rail. That means transportation facilities are very important. Now the power and fuel supply, cheap and uninterrupted power, supply of power and fuel, and they attract industries. Then the fifth point is water. The quality and properties of water influence the location of industries. Manpower, availability of manpower, the labor laws and common policy, climate, natural conditions, then other strategic considerations. So we do not start an industry where a military means or which is which is a military area. We do not start industries in that places. So industries are unlikely to be located in which are accessible to foreign military forces. And taxes and fees, incentives, disincentives, site and services, socio-economic, political factors, and miscellaneous factors. So these are the factors which generally influence the location and site. Now we will consider the organizational aspects. In many industries, there are certain technical plant capacities which are economic. If the size of suboptimal, if the size is of suboptimal, there will be diseconomies of scale. Diseconomies of scale result in high cost and make the survival of industries difficult. So, we must optimally operate the company. We have a size of the company, capacity of the company, and the company must be utilizing its full capacity. If it utilizes its full capacity, then there will be economies of scale. It will get more benefits of being a large company. But if the company size is not optimally utilized, or if the company is of a suboptimal size in the sense that it is not completely utilizing its capacity, then there will be diseconomies of scale. So company size is big, but it is not utilizing the full capacity. Then it is unlikely to get more economies of scale. That means there will be diseconomies of scale. The operator will come up. The opposite will come up. That is, diseconomies of scale will come up. Diseconomies of scale result in high cost and make the survival of industries very difficult. Certain factors which come in the way of optimal scale means under what conditions we will be constrained to operate the company in the optimal scale. These are the 4 important factors which will prevent the company from operating its full capacity. One is demand constraints. If the company does not get a sufficient demand for its product, then definitely there will be suboptimal use of the company. Diseconomies of scale will be followed. Second, input constraints. If the company does not get sufficient input, then it cannot operate in its full capacity. Scarcity of finance, then risk of rapid obsolescence of technology. If the technology becomes outdated, obsolete, then there will be what is called suboptimal use of the capacity of the company. So this is very important. That is organizational aspect. That is how much capacity of the company you are utilizing. If you are unable to utilize your full capacity, then there will be the emergence of diseconomies of scale, resulting in high cost, making the survival of the company difficult. Now, perhaps the last important, but the most important aspect of project appraisal is financial aspect. The purpose of the appraisal of financial aspect is to ensure its initiation of financial conditions for the sound implementation and efficient operation. Financial appraisal also evaluates revenue producing capacity of the project. So how much revenue a project can create. So these many financial ratios or financial techniques will be applied in the financial appraisal of the company. In another video, we will see what are the important financial parameters which are taken care of in the appraisal of a project. And so these are the important things. The financial aspect of the project appraisal covers cost analysis, pricing, financing, income and expenditure. Different financial ratios are used for this. We will discuss that in another video. Okay, thank you.